Om Shanti. Let's sit in silence for some time first. The world that we live in is a world of sound. There are various sounds around me. The sounds of machines, sounds of voices, even the sounds of my thoughts. There are other sounds too, the sounds of nature, the sound of water, birds, there are both harmonious and disharmonious sounds out there. Let me gently unplug my attention from this world of sound and go within. And as I go within, I connect with that world of silence, that world of light and silence, where no element of matter exists. It is just souls in that world of light. This world, this home is nirvana, the world beyond sound. Here I, the soul, am bodiless, thoughtless, with just this experience of absolute peace. I sit as a point of light in this world, absolutely still, silent, and peaceful. There is no movement, no sound, just these waves of peace all around me. This is my home. This is where I came from. This is where I truly belong. Let me sit in this experience for some time. Om Shanti. So, I have been talking to you about this cycle of 5,000 years and how we, the soul, come into this play, and slowly, gradually, as we deplete ourselves, then we create value systems. And then, now that they are failing, we have to move back to being ourselves. And for this, Shiv Baba has to come and teach us how to go back, how to connect with our original qualities, with our original home. So that is what Shiv Baba is doing for us. Now, today I have sent you another picture of a staircase. Have you received it? Yes, okay. So that picture is also represents our journey of 5,000 years. So just like we had that picture of a circle, the drama wheel, where we understood what happens in the 5,000 years. So this picture also represents those 5,000 years in a different manner, that is in the form of a staircase. Now, what we today we will understand, it's in Hindi, right? I know, but there are certain words in English also, and I don't have the English one right now, so I will try to. So I will try to send it to you in English if possible. So when you look at that picture, you can just have a look. I will explain it to you anyway. That's not a problem. So when you see that picture, so just like I told you that this whole 5,000 years, which is basically called a kalpa. So kalpa means a period of 5,000 years. And this whole kalpa is divided into 4 yugas. So the Satyug, Treta Yug, Dwapar Yug, and Kali Yug. So which are the 4 yugas or ages in this one kalpa. Kalpa is a period of 5,000 years. Now, in that picture also you see 4 divisions. So there is the first is the golden age, which is almost painted golden in color, and then there is the silver age, then copper age, then iron age. And then there are steps in each age that correspond to the number of births a soul takes in each age or in each yug. So there are 8 steps in the golden age which correspond to 8 births. Treta Yuga or the silver age, 12 steps or 12 births. And then in the Dwapar Yuga or the copper age, it is 21 births. And then in the Kali Yuga, it is 42 births. Now, the thing to recollect here is each yuga is equally distributed in terms of the number of years. So, Satyug is 1250 years, Treta Yuga is also 1250. So, in that same 1250 years, the number of births are different. So, in the first 1250 years, it is 8 births, then 12, then 21, then 42. And if you add them up, it comes to 83. And then there is this one birth, which is the confluence aged birth, where you are sitting in the right hand corner of the picture with Shiv Baba. So that is one birth. So that is called the confluence aged birth or the Sangam Yugi birth. So when you add that, it becomes to 84. Now, here you have to understand one thing: no soul ever gets complete moksha. So, you can't be a soul and not come on stage. So, this is the stage, and every soul has to come onto this stage. So there is no liberation as such or moksha as such. So we all come from that home, we all go back home every 5,000 years. All that is fine, but we don't have anything called moksha, which means that you don't come on to the stage ever again. Now, I want you to understand why this is so, because somewhere it has been fed into us that moksha is a very romantic idea and you should all go and sit up there and never come down. So now you have to think for yourself, what is your trouble? Is it life or is it sorrow? So when you are happy, you don't even want to go to sleep. So when you are partying, when you are happy, you don't want to even go to sleep. Then why do you want moksha? So every soul loves to be happy and blissful. So our problem is not life. The problem is sorrow. Now you see, in this world we have been taught or given this idea that whenever you are in life, you are in sorrow also simultaneously. So it is said that there cannot be absolute happiness in this life. So this is why it was said that if you want to not experience sorrow, you should not come into this cycle of birth and death, because whenever there is life, there is sorrow. But now Baba tells us no, it is not like that, because sorrow takes place because of these 5 vices. So when there are no vices, that is when there is no lust, anger, ego, attachment, and greed, there is no sorrow. So, sorrow is not about lives, and life is not about sorrow. Sorrow emerges from vices. So, Baba says 2500 years in this cycle, which is half the cycle, there is no sorrow because there is no vices. So, why do you want to not come into the cycle if you can experience a time where there is no sorrow? So Baba says that first of all, it is not possible that an actor doesn't act. So we, the souls, are actors, and we must come onto this stage and act. And if we don't act, what are we good for? So let me give you an example which will make you think about what I am talking. You see, if I give you a bag of seeds and I tell you that these seeds are really good ones, and they are the best ones, and they can, if you sow them into the soil, they will give you the best fruit or best grain possible. But then I tell you that you don't have to sow them in the soil, you just store them somewhere and keep them. Then every month you keep calling me and asking me when is the time to sow them, because they will give rise to good fruit. Then when do I sow them? So I said, no, they are capable of giving you very good fruit, but you never sow them. So then you say, what good is it if they are never to be put into the soil? So you just throw them away. So, just like a seed is manifested only when it is put into the soil, and only when it is sown do you know what it is good for, and its utility or its existence is, what do you say, justified when it is sown. Similarly, if a soul doesn't come to this stage and play the role, what good is the soul? And then you say all the good ones flew and sat there. So all the ones who were good enough, they went and sat there in moksha, and all the bad ones are here. So so that doesn't make sense. And if you think about what Guru Nanak said, so there is a story in which there are two villages, and then there is a village where everybody is notorious, and there is theft and dacoity and these things done by those village people. And then there is another village where everybody is very nice and good. So then, though, so when so Guru Nanak visited both these villages, and then in one of the village, so the notorious ones, he blessed them. May you all be here always. To base raho. So may you never be homeless, and may you never wander. May you always have this kind of a setting, and base raho. And then when he went to the good village where good people were there, he said, Bikhar jao. So you must all scatter and be homeless and go here and there and find places in other villages. So then there was a person, and he was very intrigued by Guru Nanak's blessing, and he said that you want the good ones to, or not have a place to be, and you want them to wander around, and you want the bad ones to have a place permanently and be there. So this doesn't look nice, because the good ones should be entitled to be in a place. So then Guru Nanak said, no, that's not how it should be, because the good ones should be spread everywhere, so that goodness is spread everywhere. So Baba says, if you are good, so if there is a Dharmatma or a Mahatma, he has to continue to be here, so that we also take his blessings, or we also want to be in his company and learn something good. So this is why Baba says, those of you who are learning Gyan don't need to go and sit in a jungle and meditate. You need to live in the household. You need to be with everybody, and then whatever you are becoming has to be an example for everybody, and they also need to learn from your life and experience, and you need to share your vibration with everyone else around. So Baba says that when you are good, you don't need to be there perched up in the soul world. You have to be here, and then it's a golden age, and then there is no sorrow. So this whole thing about moksha, or getting free from this cycle of birth and death, was somewhere driven into us, because People thought that this world and sorrow go together. So whenever you are in life, you are in sorrow. But Baba says, no, you can have life and you may not be in sorrow if you work on your vices. So that is what Baba is teaching us. So this is one thing. Second thing is there is no interchange of souls into different species. So no human soul becomes a dog or a cat or a mosquito. So that doesn't happen. So if you are a human soul, you are born as a human in every birth. So in all these 84 births, it's a human birth. So just like you see, a guava seed will always become a guava, a mango seed will also always become a mango. So similarly, you, the soul, are like a seed, and whenever you manifest yourself, you will manifest yourself in the human form. So that is there. And about this, you can also understand from the past life regression theories. So there have been various past life regression studies over the years, and science has done a lot, because you see, a soul carries memory. So you can there are methods from which you can access what the soul was or did in the past birth. So just like you can access your memory about what happened 10 years ago or 20 years ago, there the memory of what happened with the soul one birth back or two births back is also there in the memory lane. So there are processes by which science has been able to access that, and there have been past life regression studies, and none of the studies has ever found that a certain person today was a cat or a dog or a crow in his last birth. So that has never been the finding, and Baba also says that never happens. Now, and I was with the health ministry, and then one day I met somebody, and that woman said, you are a BK, so you work with the Brahma Kumaris. So I said, yes. So she said, I know BKs. So I said, okay, and how do you know BKs? So she said, you are the only people who say that a human soul takes a human birth. So yes, I said, yes. So she said, I am into this reincarnation studies with the WHO. So I do the World Health Organization. I am in the department which does this studies about past life and regression and other stuff. So I have come across this finding that a human soul takes a human birth, and then I came to know that you also speak of the same. So that's why I know you. So then we got talking, and she shared many incidents and many studies about how past life regression is done, and always it's been a finding that a human soul takes a human birth. So that's there. So these are the two things. Then the third thing about this picture is that every soul can take maximum 84 births and minimum one birth. So since there is no moksha, so the number of births for everyone varies. So not everybody takes equal number of births. So there are some souls who take 84, then 83 or 82, or so there are souls which take maximum 84 births, and there are souls that which take minimum the one birth. But you can have a range between 84 and 1, but it cannot be less than 1 and greater than 84, because that will be out of the cycle. Now in this regard, you see the population is every day increasing. So definitely there are souls getting added which were not here earlier. So you can suppose that the ones that are coming now must be having one birth maximum. So the population that is getting added are the last ones. And then What do you think about yourself? Do you think you have been around for a long time, or you think that you have been around for some time? So, I once gave you an indication about this, and I told you that if somebody has so what happens after 84 births, I will tell you. So we again come into the cycle of 84 births. So it repeats. So this is like I told you, it's a cycle. So 84 finishes, then God rejuvenates, recharges, and then we again come back to the 84. So it's a continuous cycle. It's just that 84 and then first. It's not like, so it's like the clock. So after it is 12 a.m., then it's again 1 p.m. So that's 1 a.m. So this is how it goes. So this is a continuous cycle, and after 84 you again take 84. So when you have to think about yourself, and if I gave you the choice, would you like to take the whole of 84 births, or would you like to come only for one birth? So, how many would say I would like to come for the whole so the full cycle, 84 births? Please raise your hand. Okay, and how many would say one birth is good enough? So, one birth. Okay, so there are one births also. Okay, so let's think about this. So, let me give you an example, and it might not sound like the best thing to listen today, but still. So if there is a day where there is a party all night, so you see from 12 a.m. the party started, and then the party went on uh, up to 4 p.m., let's say. So there was party going on the whole night, the whole day, and it was all great. And then you kept sleeping the whole time. Okay, so you were sleeping while the party was going on. And then when the party is over and the whole house is dirty and there it's time to clean the dishes, then you also get up. And then the other people who partied are cleaning the dishes, but you are also cleaning with them. So does that sound like a good idea? So see, we have to clean the dishes anyway. So we have to be in this last birth, which is not the best one. So we have to see this coronavirus, and we have to see these times when everything is so uncertain and there is fear and insecurity and so much going on outside. So if we have to see this time, at least let's see the best ones also. So Baba says that if you come from the beginning, you have 2500 years of absolute happiness, and then after that also 1250 years is not that bad. So copper age, yes, there are vices, but it's not that bad. And it's only towards the end that you have some sorrow, and although it looks like a lot to you because you have seen that kind of happiness, but still it is very little compared to the happiness you have seen. But for those who come at the end, this is only what they see, and that is not a good idea because they never see anything good in life. This is the only life they see, and they come. And so you see, even when we analyze animals, so whenever there is talk about animals, so you say mosquitoes are the worst because they have such a short lifespan. So you do not celebrate a short lifespan ever. So you see, people will say that this life is like a mosquito's life, and you come and you just live for a few days and then leave. So Baba says you don't have to live like a mosquito. So you don't come at the end and just have one birth and leave. So you stay here with a long lifespan. You see all the fruits, and you see the beauty of the golden age, and you see everything that is full, so peaceful, happy, loveful, everything. And then it's only a little time that is spent in this sorrow. So this is how it goes. So now About this 84 births, so I told you that it is 8, 12, 21, and 42. Why? Because there are two factors. One, in the golden age and silver age, there is no untimely death. So, death is not uncertain or untimely in the golden and silver age. Okay. And then from the copper age, death becomes untimely or uncertain. So that's one factor. And the second factor is, as the soul loses its power, then the soul gets, so the lifespan reduces. So you take more number of births in the same age. So same 1250 years, but the number of births will be more because the lifespan reduces as the soul depletes itself. And then the first factor is more important, which is there is no uncertain death in Satyug and Treta Yuga, and from Dwapar and Kali Yuga you have untimely or uncertain death. Now, what do I mean by there is no uncertain death? So, in the golden and silver age, when I say it is 8 births and 12 births, in 1250 years, you take 8 exact births. So, whatever that figure comes to approximately 150 years. So, every soul leaves the body at that precise time. So, you know when you're born that once you are 150 years of age, you will leave the body. Okay, so you know the time of your death when you come to this life, and you also know that after death you are not dying, so you are taking another body, so you are happily leaving this body and getting ready to take another body. So that is the consciousness in Satyug. And in Treta Yuga, it is similar. So it is 12 births, but then it is 1250 divided by 12, which is approximately 100 years. And then from Dwapar Yuga onwards, what happens is sometimes somebody dies at the age of 1 or in the womb itself, and then they leave that body and take another in a very short time. And sometimes people live to be 100 or 102 also. So that is how it goes in the Dwapar and Kali Yuga. So this is it. Now I want you to look at the picture of that 84 birds and see that where are you sitting right now. So you are sitting in the lowermost portion, that is the end of Kali Yuga and Sangam Yuga. So the confluence age and the Iron Age or Kali Yuga are going on simultaneously, and you are now sitting in the Sangam Yuga. At least in this class you are in Sangam Yuga. So you are sitting there with Baba. Now, after that, there are images of destruction that are shown. So there is a picture of a civil war, there is a picture of a nuclear atomic war, and there is a picture of a natural calamity. So if you look around, these three possibilities are increasing day by day. So the possibility of a nuclear atomic war, the possibility of a natural calamities, and the possibility of a civil war is increasing day by day. So Baba says there will be a time when all these three things will start happening together. And that is the time when there will be this going back of souls from this earth to the soul world. So that is the time when souls will leave bodies in a big way and we will all go home. So whatever you call that vinash, you call that whatever, that time is approaching now. And as you can see, you can feel that the world is moving towards unsustainability and destruction. So when we all go back, so before we go back, we are doing this meditation and this practice, and we are trying to imbibe divine virtues, leave values, don't get entangled in value systems, pay attention to your peace and happiness, and we are trying to up our quotient of peace, happiness, love, knowledge before that time of the clock where it strikes 12. So we are all trying to do that. Now, when that day comes, or those days come, so this Vinash will not be a one day thing, so it will be a process. So it will be many years of this kind of a time coming when people will be leaving bodies and souls will be going back. So it may take 1 or 2 years to do to for this to happen. And then whatever practices you have done, according to that, you are in a certain spiritual stage. So um, so that stage will enable you to go through that time. So do you know that you are so I told you in the last class that it is not what is happening outside, but it is what is happening outside compared to your spiritual strength, which makes whatever is happening outside miserable or a happy scene. So your inner strength, your spiritual strength determines how much you feel the circumstances outside are difficult or causing you misery. So we are trying to build that stage where anything happening outside doesn't affect us, and we are able to maintain our state of happiness come what may. Right now, what is your stage of happiness and peace? How much does it take for you to shift from happiness to unhappiness? So, how much does it take for you to shift from one state to the other? So, you have to think about yourself and about your spiritual immunity. So, just like we are talking about physical immunity these days, and then people say it's the same virus, but it affects people differently because it is the virus pitted against the physical immunity. Similarly, it is always situations and behaviors and circumstances pitted against the spiritual immunity. So, if you are spiritually resilient, if you are immune, if you have that kind of inner resilience and power, then this scene of Vinash or whatever will be going on around you for a long time, which will be a big disintegrating force, will not be able to disturb you. And when it is not able to disturb you, then when you leave the body finally, because we will leave the body when it is time for us to leave the body and go back, but then we will not leave the body in sorrow. So we want to leave the body in a happy state. So as a yogi, you want to be in a state of happiness, peace, and stability when you leave the body, because how you leave the body is very, very important. How you leave the body determines how you come back. So you have heard of this term antmate sogati, which means the way you leave your body at the end, or the stage at the end, determines your state when you come back to this play again. So or whenever a soul leaves a body, so the final state decides what birth they take also. So that is Antmate Sogati. It is very similar to what you do in offices. So 31st March closing balance is the opening balance of 1st April. So the stage, so there will be many challenges before you leave the body. And if they are not able to affect you, then you are in a stable, peaceful, happy state when you leave the body. And then that determines that you come in a happy time, or you come in an age where there's happiness and peace all around. So we will all leave bodies and we will all go back to the soul world, but the stage in which we leave the bodies will be different. And we are not trying to avoid death through these practices, because death is just a change of costume. And just like, do you love changing your costumes? If you are getting a better one, you sure do. So you will be getting a better one. So there is no problem with changing the costume. The only problem is you ensure you get a better one. So, this is why you have to stop thinking of yourself as a body and not be afraid of changing the costume, because this body is just a costume. You leave this, you get another one. So you always think that all these people who are dying from COVID are dying, but they are not dying. They are all around here and they have just changed costumes. So if you look at it that way, then you understand that there is no loss in this whole drama. So it is just change, and then we look at it as loss, and then we grieve and we become so disappointed. So Baba says you should look at the spiritual reality, and we will all leave bodies, but the way we want to leave the body is very important. So we are preparing ourselves for that. Now, so we will all leave our bodies in different stages. Now we all go back home after leaving the bodies. So all the 8 billion or up to the end, maybe 9 billion or whatever souls there are, we all go back home. And have you seen that vortex of, the small mosquitoes that fly together? So we will all go back like that. So it'll be a lot of stars flying back home. And then when we go back home, Baba also goes back home with us. So he has come to take us, and then he teaches us how to leave the body, and then he takes us back home. But when we go back home, we carry sanskars. So I told you that sanskars are a part of the soul. So the soul is never without sanskars. So when we go back home, we carry the sanskars. And then our sanskars determine our quality as a soul. So we all go back, there is nothing to do there. So we all sit there. But then we have created certain sanskars before we go back, and then this whole cycle turns again. So again it is golden age, silver age, copper age, and iron age. And then when you are there, then there is a play going on right now down here, and then this play has a certain frequency. So in the golden age, it is 100% pure and peaceful, right? So if you have created 100% pure and peaceful sanskars before going back, then you will be pulled on to this earth when it is 100% pure and peaceful. So the frequency or the vibration here, when it corresponds to your stage, so your spiritual stage, you will come down here. So if somebody has only purified himself 70%, then when this deterioration starts taking place and this earth's vibration starts depleting from 100 to 80 to 70, then that soul will come down. So now do you understand why we come down differently? Because I told you, in this cycle, last effect is first cause. There is no absolute beginning. So the way we go back determines how we come back. And then how we come back determines how we go back also. Because if you have not been around for the whole cycle, then you don't come and take this knowledge also. So a soul that had taken 84 births will come and take knowledge, will purify itself, and it will again come in the beginning. And a soul that came later, this knowledge won't make absolute sense. So they will take a little, go back half purified, and then again when they come back, it will be in a stage in a, when the world is not in a stage of 100% purity. So does that make sense to you, or are you lost? So is it too much information? So you have to take time for it to sink in. So this is how it takes place. So you want to understand the secrets of the time cycle, you will have to use a little concentration. So do you understand that? So when we come to a spiritual class, we think this is going to be easy, right? Now, do you understand, when you want to learn about the five elements of matter, you go to 4 years of engineering. Okay, you go for a 4 year course, and then you want to learn about how a machine works, and you want to learn how the world works or how the spiritual dimension works. So you have to give it some time, and it is not easy, it is not simple, it is not plain and very very clear. So you have to use a lot of concentration, and you have to try to understand this, because these are the secrets of the time cycle that God has given us. So you will need some amount of concentration to understand this, and I can't make it simpler than this. I have made it the most simple it possibly can be made. Okay, so so if I don't explain this to you, you will keep asking me, why is it that somebody comes later? Why is it that somebody comes earlier? So there is a reason why everything is happening. And if you want to know the reason, it will be a little convoluted and entangled, but this is how it works. So when you leave the body, you are in a certain stage. And then this whole world passes through different stages in the next cycle. And when the stage in which you leave the body corresponds to the stage of the world in the new cycle, you come down. So if you have purified yourself 100%, you come down in the beginning, which is when the world is at a 100% purity level. And if you have purified yourself lesser and lesser, then you come down later on. This is why most souls come down later, because most souls do not do this work of purging themselves right now. Now you see, you are just listening to the knowledge right now. But then this purification, or getting rid of vices, takes a lot of time to practice. So every time you start to think that I want to be pure and peaceful and loveful, then some ego attack or anger attack or lust attack or something will happen. And then you have to again meditate and bring yourself to the awareness that I am a soul, not this body. This is not my senior or junior. Their opinion doesn't matter. I don't have to play along when they are attacking my ego. So this takes a lot of practice. And this inner work is not done by most people. So this is why it is a fact that almost 7 billion souls come down only in the last 100 years, because these 7 billion souls do nothing to purify themselves. And then you are amongst those who are expected, or I assume that you will be doing that work. So if you are coming in that beginning 9 lakhs, that means you must have done a lot of inner work to be there. So Baba says that this is how it is. Some people come earlier, some people come later. And if you are understanding this whole cycle, it means that you came 84 births back, and this is why it is all making sense to you. And then you will start doing that work from today itself. Okay, let me take up the questions. So I will take this picture again tomorrow. There are other details. Today we only understood how we go back and how we come back. Okay. Did everyone on earth, humans, have birth in Satyug and then followed into other yugas, or some can also just take birth in second or third yuga? So I told you, people, souls keep coming down. So it's not like everybody comes at once. Only 9 lakh come in the beginning, and then gradually others keep coming down, and then in different yugas also souls keep coming down. Okay. Why people get scared of death when they know that they would be born again with a good soul better than the earlier? Because this has been trained into us, or we have been conditioned to believe that this is death. So you see, I will tell you about conditioning. When I was a little child, so I used to be very fascinated with this idea of keeping a fast. So, I used to keep this fast on Shivratri and other days, and then I used to be really hungry. So I couldn't keep the fast, and I would eat after 2 to 3 hours or 4 hours, and then I would cry because I felt that my fast got broken. So then the vrat toot gaya. So I used to cry a lot, and I used to say, "Mera vrat toot gaya, vrat toot gaya." Then my father used to feel very bad. So he once called me and told me, "You see, when anything breaks, there is a sound, right?" So I said, "Yes." So he said, "Was there a sound when you ate?" So I said, "No." So he says, "No, then your fast is not broken. So whenever the fast is broken, there'll be a big sound." So I was a very little kid, and I took to that logic. And then whenever I ate after, so whenever I couldn't keep the fast and I ate, I just watched if there was any sound, and then I was happy eating. And I thought, no, it is, the fast is going on and I'm eating also, and it's no trouble. So you see how conditioning works. So conditioning is a very big thing. And as soon as we are born, nobody tells us that this person left the body. So you say they died. So there is a connotation attached to that word, they died. So it is sorrowful and it is miserable that they died. And then we attach a lot of pain and sorrow to that event. So this is all conditioning that happens. And it's conditioning because we get attached to the body. Okay. So now Baba teaches us, no, you are the soul, detach from the body, and then you will know that you are not dying, you are only leaving the body. Okay. Didi, if we go back at 70%, then when we come back, we miss the Satyug period. Yes, definitely. Because Satyug and Treta Yug completely, totally are almost 80%. So 70% is somewhere in the copper age. But why will you come back at 70%? You will come back at 100% now that you will practice. So there is still time, and we can change ourselves. And the good thing is, since the time is less, so we can make fast effort and finish the work in time and go back in 100% stage. Is there anything like hell, or is that just a myth? So hell is this where we are living. It's not a myth. It's real. So this is hell, where we are living right now. Living hell. So people in hell are afraid of hell. So so that's the irony. So people in hell are afraid of hell, and I will tell you one story about this. So there was this village, and there was a prediction in that village that tomorrow when everybody gets up, the the water in that pond from where they all fetch water will get poisonous, and anybody who drinks that water will go crazy. So then everybody in the village was unaware of this prediction, and there was only one fellow who knew this. So what he did is, he didn't sleep that day, and he kept filling his tank with water the whole night. And then he thought that, okay, when some everybody wakes up in the morning, they will drink that water and go crazy, and I will be the only sane person here. So that would be nice. So then the next morning happened, and then everybody drank that poisonous water and they went crazy. And guess what? When they went crazy, who did they pelt stones on? So they started pelting stones on this sane person because everybody was crazy and he was the only sane one. And then he was very miserable because he was the only sane person there. And what he did is he went and drank that water after some time so that he also behaves equally crazy and he doesn't suffer for his sanity. So this is why good people are suffering, or people who honor values and virtues are suffering, because this is hell that we are living in. So Baba says this is living hell, and nirvana is not heaven. Heaven is the golden age. Nirvana is home. So it's not happy, it's not sad. There you are beyond sorrow and happiness because there is no thought. And no thought means no feeling. So you can only experience nirvana by thinking about it right now. But when you are in nirvana, when you are at home, at that time you don't experience anything because no thought means no feeling. So we will discuss this point tomorrow. But when we say heaven, it is Satyug and Treta Yug. It's not heaven up there, it's heaven here. Because a soul only can experience anything with the man and buddhi, and the man and buddhi are inactive in the soul world, they are active here. And then hell is right now. So you want to shift from hell to heaven, you create heaven. So you create, so Gandhiji said, create, be the change you want to see in the world. So you want to see heaven, you create heaven, and this is what Baba is asking us to do. Okay, Om Shanti. Let's meditate for a few minutes. Just look at yourself. I am the fortunate soul. God is holding. That Supreme One, who is the Supreme Parent, Supreme Teacher, and Supreme Satguru, has become mine now. Shiv Baba himself, the Lord of Lords, the highest of high, has become my teacher and is teaching me all the secrets of this world. He is making me Trikaldarshi, giving me the knowledge of the past, present, and future, giving me the power to create a future. I am with him in this spark task of creation right now. He has lifted me up from Kali Yuga and ushered me into Satyug. I am on my way to Satyug. I am with Baba in this Sangam Yuga. Look at you, the soul. How fortunate you are. And look at this extraordinary time and what's happening, and just marvel at it.